next on our long list of anime, we have Takopi's Original Sin, which is the final episode, and the anime ends today as of recording. And oh my god. We have so much to talk about. And I feel like the best way for me this is just to go through the entire episode. But don't be surprised if I bounce around. I'm going to try my best. And I usually don't go through like the whole synopsis because that just takes too long. And this podcast would be 3 hours. But for this, I feel like I have to because there's a lot to talk about. There is a very, very lot amount to talk about. Okay, now the first thing I want to talk about is Azuma and Takopi, which is the only sort of kind of negative, but after sleeping on it and talking to various people who have also finished it and getting their perspectives and just, having general discussions about it, my opinion has definitely changed. However, this is probably like the one single negative, and it's just a slight one. I want to point that out. It's just a slight, just teeny tiny bit, but I kind of wish we got to see, and again, I said it's going to follow the plot, but I'm already bouncing you around. I really wish we saw Asuma at the end, along with Marina, I forget how you pronounce her name, and Shizuku, mainly because he was also a part of it, but also kind of not. But while I would have at least liked to see him, maybe not with the two girls, but I would have liked to see him. And I mainly say that because he still was a pretty integral part and had his own story, but I also understand the fact that Azuma already kind of had his story finished when we see him, at the end working on his own work. He's not really talking with Shizuku and Marin or the Marina at all. Like there is towards the end when, the thing happens, and I'll talk about the thing, but the last time we see them in their classroom proper, Azuma is going up to try to talk to Shizuku, but doesn't. And that plays into everything that happens, which is one of those things where it's like, oh, it makes sense, because Takopi and Azuma at the beginning have the conversation that, yes, I like Shizuku a lot, and I wanted to try to help her, but I also realized that I should not be doing that, and she is not a good person for me, and I'm not the good person for her. She does not need me in her life, and I do not need her in mine. And I think that's going to benefit both of us in the end. And honestly, kind of a W take. And that's because there are just some people that you want in your life. There are some people that you are going to want to have attached and go through journeys. But at the end of the day, not everyone can come by. Not everyone can be there for you. And not everyone can be there part of your journey. And I think that plays in a lot to the overall sort of kind of message we left off at the end of the series. Then one of the other big points is, as Takopi is waiting as Azuma leaves, going off telling like, hey, if you see me again, tell me it's okay to fight with my brother. But Takopi waits a very long time as Shizuku comes back and they have their whole conversation, which I saw the clippings and I'm like, oh no, she took the two girls, which I think it was like Utaku's Barrett who had the same reaction I had, where it was like, oh, he went and took the two girls. Oh, what's she doing? Are we gonna find them dead? But they're fine. They're fine, and that makes me happy. That makes me happy that both of the girls are safe. But when Shizuku and Takopi have their confrontation, Shizuku basically tries to do what she did back into the city, which is, destroy her. And it's just the speech she gives of, what else am I supposed to do? This is all I, not like this is all I know, but it's like, what am I supposed to do? What do you want me to do? Because I don't know. And it's those types of speeches, and I think with this entire show, it is the lack of answers and lack of reasoning for these things that really gets to me. Like, obviously and not everyone's ever going to have the answer to things, right? But as adults, you tend to have a better understanding of stuff. But the reason why, childhood trauma and other kid things related to, pain and suffering really gets to me, because it is the thing of a lack of understanding. It is the reason why, younger kids will ask you a billion questions, right? Of, why is this the case? Why is that the case? Where do kids come from? Where, why is this happening? Why is that? I mean, the amount of times I've gotten people, young kids, asking me, hey, why is that person dark? And I don't, trust me, I get that question a lot. in the area that I've lived in, because I just live in a not very colorful place. But like, I get it, because it's not a kid that's doing it out of malice, or they're not doing it because they're evil. It's more a sense of just they don't understand, and they just want answers. They just want to understand why something is happening to them, and sometimes like the answer could suck, because it's like it's happening because your parents suck, or you don't have good parents, and it's not your fault. And unfortunately, a lot of us, even in our older age, tend to kind of blame ourselves. And I think that speech kind of reflects it, because Shizuku is just wanting answers. She just wants to understand why things are happening and why no one wants to help her. And if it's her fault or if it's somebody else's fault, like, why did her mom leave? Why did her dad pretend she didn't know her? Why does she get bullied? Why did Chappie leave? It's all these questionings of whys and whys and whys. And it hurts a lot. It hurts a lot. And it fucking got me, man. Takopi is obviously trying to comfort her, being like, look, I don't know, and I can't give you the answers, but all I can give you is like love and affection and someone to actually that says to care about you. And that's the thing I should have done before, is to just say, I care about you. And we see the whole montage of Takopi and Shizuku going around just being with each other, but obviously Shizuku, she's lost a lot. And so she's trying to be happy, but it's hard, as she's like homeless now with no mother and no friends, not really going to school, not doing all this shit. So it kind of sucks, man. It really sucks with dealing with all of this stuff. And this is what broke me, because like I was already feeling very emotional with the speech and seeing her and seeing how, like, just because having somebody doesn't fully cure you, right? So, I'm getting, if I sound like I'm crying, thank God I did the VTuber thing, so you don't have to see me ugly crying. Thank God. Which I might, because thinking about it, is the thing that got me was, after everything, Azuma at the beginning gives Takopi back the camera. And the reason why that's a lot is because Takopi decides to give back the camera, right? No, Takopi decides to use the camera, because it's like, oh yeah, it's broken, but with my happiness powers, I can do one more thing. And it's the idea of Shizuku not really understanding, but only understanding that she's losing the only person that was actually kind to her. And while, yes, everything will be fixed, like she'll get Chappie back, she'll get her mom back, she'll get, at least, not ideal, but back to the situation that she was put in, that doesn't mean that she loses the only person that cared for her. And that got me, because it is also this creature who is trying to understand humans, who is just like, I can't do much, and there's just sometimes just changing human beings is more difficult than it has to be. But what I can at least do is give you like a chance, like one more chance, one more opportunity to actually be able to fix things. And that's what got me, because it was a thing of, like, first of all, the sacrifice of a creature finally kind of just understanding the human condition of, the only thing I can really do is give up myself for you, which that hurt. But also understanding the fact that the best thing that he could do for her is just bring her back into the situation she was before. And it does hurt, because it's one of the things where it's like, yeah, I'm back to square one, which is better than I was before, but also that does mean I don't have the person who actually showed love and affection to me, which does, it hurts a lot. So obviously she's back in school. We've seen the same day that she's repeated a bunch of times with Takopi's assistance. We see Azuma talking about the fact that he was fighting with his brother last night about playing on the PS4, which is it's nice, and I wish I noticed it before, but it definitely plays into what we learn towards like the end, where we basically get the same situation where Shizuku's just going about her day, and she's, getting bullied by Marina or whatever her name is. But like, there's some residual memories from all three of them, where Marina realizes that she was talking about the chameleon flower, but there's no chameleon flower. And Azuma looking to try to reach out to Shizuku, but obviously staying away for his own benefit. Now, this is the part where I started getting a tad bit confused, well, not a tad bit confused, but a bit unsatisfied. But this is also where I had the discussion where I think it changed and I appreciate more of the perspective, right? Where we're repeating the day. Marina is confronting Shizuku in the same way in the first episode where she was going to really beat her up, but then she sees the picture of Takopi and she looks at it and she's like, okay, it's a familiar feeling. And then there's Shizuku who has a familiar feeling. And God, dude, this anime is this anime is very tough, but it's also very heartwarming in its own depressing way. They both see the picture and they see that Shizuku and Marina are both crying, and that is because both of them have that old memory, that like residual memory that they both have of Takopi, and the stupid level of happiness that he has lingering in the memory of like, okay, there is a feeling that we obviously share, and I wish there was a bit more of. Not my thing with it is that I wish there was just a bit more context for that. Not like I don't want like a whole damn episode. Like I'm not talking it needs to be a Batman, Superman like, oh, your name's Martha, your mom's name's Martha, my name's Martha too. We're not so different. Like I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about just a little like a connection of a feeling of understanding. But I think I was just kind of up in my feelings about it sitting there because they're both crying, which means that they both kind of understand that feeling of just like, I see, we have both been through a lot and we both have suffered, but we both have felt a feeling of being loved, and it seems like that maybe this creature, whatever this drawing is, kind of brings us together and we have that connection. And then obviously by the end of it, Azuma's not there. Again, I kind of wish we at least saw him. Not with them, but at least saw them. But I understand why not. And we see Marina and Shizuku both taken their own little jabs at each other. But they're both in high school. They're both a lot more grown up. And you see that both of them, they both say the same thing that Takopi says at the beginning of episode 1. When they're talking about the ballpoint pen that does stuff, and they even have a good laugh about it. And that, again, I was unsure. I was just like, oh yeah, that was kind of like, it's like I wish we had more context. But after sleeping on it, having my discussions about it, I understand it a lot more, and I think I appreciate the way that they ended it. Because with Takopi's original sin, and everything it does, it basically shows that no matter who you are, no matter what you like, not necessarily who you are, but it takes a lot for a human to change, right? And even though we're trying to change, sometimes they'll find a way to be evil, or they'll find a way to go back. Like you can't just, there's a lot that you can do, but it doesn't just change things. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense of it at all. I think really what I'm trying to get at is that humans are complex creatures, right? But we're also kind of simple at the same time. We can do all of these things to try to fix whatever path that we're on, and sometimes it never works, and it can make things even worse. But there are also small things in terms of emotions, in terms of looking at each other and confronting situations that just help us bond, even if it's like two separate enemies. Sometimes it could be something simple like a picture that makes you feel happy, or sometimes it's just a conversation. And I think this is more obvious, and I'm thinking about this just now. It is more obvious because Azuma has that with his brother, where he doesn't have anyone that like he really was able to get acknowledgement from, and he didn't feel like he felt like he was fighting the world. And the reason why Azuma is different from Shizuku and Marina is because he has that within his brother. He has his brother tell him that it's okay to cry, it's okay to go, I'm your support and I'm going to help you. And Shizuka and Marina didn't have that. But they do share that connection of, we want that. We want that, and we had that, and we had that feeling. So it's one of those things where it's like, oh, just trying to understand somebody for who they are can go a very, very long way. And you don't need like elaborate things either. You just need to be understanding. And even then, though, not everything's going to be fixed. And that's the big thing for this, where at the end, which I got this pointed out to me as well, Marina still has her scar. From what we saw from the previous timeline, she still has that scar. That's always going to be there. And Shizuku still looks the same as well. She looks still beat up. Nothing's going to change. Just because you can make that connection doesn't mean that you could change. But just making a small thing like that can go a long way. It might not fix everything, but it could definitely, at the very least, make things better. And while it's not the timeline we want, because I can speak for a lot of people where we probably wanted the happy ending where Shizuku got taken away and put in a better family, and Marina was, her dad came back and everything was fine. That Azuma's mom was able to make her feel good, and he was able to take care of the clinic. I think all of us want, at least for as much pain as they go through, we want the Disney ending. Even though we don't like the Disney ending, right? We don't like the Disney ending because it always feels super unwarranted, it sounds like that. But I think when people go through this much pain and this much agony and this much just suffering, a Disney ending is worth it. And I think if they pulled a Disney ending, it would have been not the 10 out of 10, but it definitely would have still been satisfying. But I appreciate this because it acknowledges that, yeah, we can't wash away everything because that's how life is. You can't wash away everything no matter how hard you try. The best thing that you can do is just kind of make the best out of a shitty situation. And honestly, I'm going to say it. Everyone else has already said it. This is like a cold take, obviously. But Takopi's Original Sin, I do think it's anime of the year. I was originally giving that to either Solo Leveling or No Lu Generic Romance, but how can I when Takopi's Original Sin exists, right? It's hard to compare the two. Like, yes, Solo Leveling is raw and it does a lot of good things. I'm making a video on that. And I'm also making a video on No Lu Generic Romance and how that's great. And it addresses its own things with identity crisis and trying to be your own self and being held back by trauma. But this does it in a way that is harsh. It does it in a way that is brutal. And it does it in a way that's honest. And I think that's the biggest thing. It does it in a way that's honest. And I appreciate that so much from an anime like this. If you have time, right? It's only 6 episodes. It's short, it's sweet, it's to the point. Please to go out of your way to watch this. Go out of your way to watch this. Give this anime the love that it deserves. Everyone's already talking about it. Everyone's already been talking about it. They do, I think, a very responsible job and an honest job in depicting a lot of the bad things that they talk about. And I do think they give a message that I think is a positive one, if not an honest one.